everyone, Phoenix Knight here. Welcome to the channel, and welcome to a new playthrough on the channel. Last week saw our last quarterfinal bout in the Greatest Boxer Tournament entitled Bout 2, so now we're headed out to a very different universe. This week, we're playing Expeditions from Stonemaier Games. In this game, we're in control of a mech trying to explore the site of a crashed meteorite in the Scythe universe in the Tunguska River. In fact, let's actually let the Stonemaier Games intro tell the story for us, since it's right here. The reign of Rasputin and Fenris is over, bringing a time of relative peace to Europa. The heroic deeds of those who protected Europa fade into legend. Instead, the eyes of the world are on Siberia, where a massive meteorite crashed near the Tunguska River, awakening ancient corruption. An expedition led by Dr. Tarkovsky ventures into the taiga to learn more about the meteorite and its impact on the land. When months pass with no reports other than rumors of the crew and wildlife being possessed by strange parasites, a rescue mission is sent after Tarkovsky, but they also fail to return. Itching for adventure, heroes from the war privately fund their own expeditions to Siberia, hoping to find artifacts, overcome challenges, and ultimately achieve glory. They borrow mechs designed for exploration and head to base camp to embark upon their journeys. This is where your story begins. And the Automa will add to that a little bit. I don't think there's an added story component, but basically, here it is. There's a little bit. Automa's expedition arrived on the scene before you. When they discovered the pervasive corruption across the area, the expedition members became obsessed with ridding the region of this scourge. To that end, Automa's mech rushes through the countryside as if warping through portals and often leaving without leaving a trace. Some have speculated the team has multiple mechs or does indeed use portals, but these wild claims have never been corroborated. Let me make sure there aren't any other story clips in there. There are not. Okay. So yes, as we'll see when we get over to the board, the Automa does have two mechs, and that will play into how the solo mode plays out. Now, I've made no bones in the past about how I disliked Scythe. So when this came out and was advertised as a sequel to Scythe, I initially dismissed it and thought, I'm not going to get this game. But then I looked into it, and I eventually decided it looked pretty interesting. So I decided to pick it up and put it through my process, and here we are now about to put it on the channel. So first up, let's work our way over to the board, and we'll stop off with the mech that I'm playing today. We're probably not going to come back here too much because there's going to be a lot going on in the course of the game. So I'm just going to explain a little bit about how everything works over here. So on your mat, on your mech mat, there are several different mechs you can choose from. Up here you've got areas where you'll put solved quests, and that'll make more sense when we get into the game itself. Upgraded items go over to the right side, and your melded meteorites go down here on the bottom. That will make more sense. You've also got tracks for power and guile over here. And then up here is the main concern of the actions in the game. So on your turn, your cube will normally be... So the first turn of the game, your cube will move here, which means you'll be able to do all three. Actually, I'll bring this up so you can see it a little bit more. So on your first turn, your cube will move there, and you'll be able to do all three of move, play, or gather. On subsequent turns, you'll have to cover one of the actions. There's no real way I can hold this. You'll have to cover one of the actions so you do what's visible. In this case, I would be moving and gathering. Here, I'd be playing and gathering, and so on. Our special ability in this game is we're playing the Tatanka mech. I may solve, upgrade, or meld up to 5 times each. Normally, the limit on that is 4. So 4 solved quests, 4 upgraded items, and 4 melded meteorites. That will go back there. Those will go there. Here's our mech. I'll move that over to base camp, which will actually be our next stop. Actually, no, we're going to stop off with the main Automa setup first. But let's meet our character first. We're going to be playing Olga. When we play her out, we'll get the core value of the card. These happen with additional glory stars, so we'll get a guile when we play her. If we deploy her with a green worker, which is what this icon means, we either gain a blue worker or solve, and that's when we solve quests. I'll explain more about that when it actually comes up. If we solve, we gain the core value of all our solved quests. Her companion is Changa, which gives her a a power, which gives you a power. With 1 glory, you get a guile. 2, you get another power. I should have mentioned here, Olga gives you a guile as base. 1 glory gives you another. 2 gives you another power as well. I believe that's how that works. Let me just double check that. Conditions. Grant additional core values of at least a minimum glory. Okay. So that's what that is. Coming back to Changa, if we deploy him with a blue worker, gain 1 exposed benefit from an adjacent location or vanquish. If this vanquish removes the location's final corruption, you may gain the revealed benefit. Corruption will come out in the central and northern locations. That'll make more sense as we get into the game. So we definitely want to get some workers in a hurry. But before we're working our way over to the board, so next up we're going to stop with the Automa. Here's everything related to the Automa. We've got the Automa's glory stars laid out here. They're using 2 mechs, but we'll see that when we move over to the main board. We've got the deck here. I've got 2 cards that are laid parallel. Technically, you're supposed to set them aside, but I've been finding it easier in my plays. Just turn the bottom 2 to the side. That way, when I get to those, I know I need to reshuffle. So it's a similar idea to Gaia Project and Terra Mystica, where when you get into the parallel cards, the AI might be passing. Instead, we know here it just is going to trigger a reshuffle. I've got a quick reference on the Automa turn and the mech actions for their cards, and then their glory track. So as they hit the various stars, let me see if I can zoom in on the card. There might be a little bit of glare from the light, but hopefully, okay, zooming in seemed to help a bit. So when you hit a star icon, the Automa will actually gain 1 of those stars. That'll go on base camp. The game ends when either they put their 8th star out or I get my 4th star out via boast actions, and we'll see that later when it comes up on one of the locations. But I think that's everything set up for the Automa. Now let's move over to base camp. These are the various ways you can earn your glory stars throughout the game. This one, if you have 4 solved quests on your mech, 4 upgraded meteorites, 4 upgraded items. There's a location that gives you 20 corruption. So if you can get that, you'll get a star for that. 7 corruption tokens, but I don't think that 20 counts for that because the 20 is its own category. Let me just double check that real quick. Does not include the 20 value corruption. Okay, that's what I thought. Then have 8 cards in your control. Actually, is that 8 cards in? Yeah, it does not, but that doesn't count solved, melded, or upgraded cards. Finally, you can get a star for having either 7 workers or 5 map tokens. You won't get it for both. So now we can tip up to the board. And we'll get this, looks like we can just barely get the entire behemoth board and shot. As we can see here, the Automa's got 2 mechs. They're using blue base and a black base. The blue is the northern mech starting in the westernmost north, the westernmost northern tiles. Then the black one is starting in the easternmost central. The south is all open to us, so let's take a look at these locations. First up, we've got the Riverside, which is right by base camp. Each location actually has a benefit with it. The uncovered locations also have map tokens that you can use. I believe those score victory points at the end of the game. No, they don't actually. I thought they did, but they don't. Well, they might affect other things. But as far as our revealed locations, we've got the mech junkyard over here, which lets you draw 2 cards from the deck. You keep 1 and put 1 in they call it the sweep pile. It's basically the discard pile. That's when you gather there. At the isolated settlement, you can get either a blue or a yellow worker. The sawmill can give you a green or a red worker. Riverside would give you an adjacent benefit. The secret facility would give you the top card of the deck and rescue 1 active card and the worker on it if there's 1 there. The airship wreckage would let you gain any card. As you can see, the board's a little bit weirdly laid out, so we've got 5 openings here for 5 cards. So let's take a look at what's up here at the what's up in this empty space. So we find purple stone, which gives you a power. It's a meteorite. Gives you a power, and if you have a melted meteorite, it gives you another power. When you deploy a purple worker to it, gain a face-up purple card to your hand, and if you have 2 melted meteorites, you get a guile per purple card you control, and if you meld it, aka tuck it under the... Whenever you meld something, you'll gain $1 per purple card you control to a maximum of 3. But remember, control doesn't count solved, melded, or upgraded cards. Next card we have available here. Control the Possessed, which is a quest. Gets you a power when you play it. If you deploy a purple worker to it, you activate the ability of any face-up purple card, then gain that card. As a quest, we can also go to space 20, which is going to be in the north, and spend 3 guile to gain, what is that, a purple worker and a power. Then our last one in the north central group. Track Tarkovsky's Trail, which gives you a guile. If you deploy a blue worker to it, gain an exposed benefit from an opponent's location. That opponent gains a guile. There are some cards in the solo mode that I think they specifically say if a card refers to another player, you return it to the box and draw. Yes, that refers to another player, card number 63. Okay, so we'll return that one to the box, and then we'll draw another card from that. So, replacing that will be a jetpack, giving you a might when a power when you play it, and it's an item. When you deploy a green worker to it, you can move. But whenever you move, after you upgrade it, whenever you move, you can move through face-down locations without stopping. That could be very good. Then our next card, down in the central south, Chaos Grenade with giving you a might. This is another item. If you deploy a red worker to it, you can vanquish. And whenever you vanquish, flip a coin. If it's heads, gain $2. Otherwise, gain a guile. The way we're going to simulate that is I've got a D6 over here. We'll explain more about how I'm going to simulate that when it happens, but I'm actually going to need that in a minute here to determine our first player. So, our last card. Offer an Arcane Sacrifice, giving you a guile. If you deploy a purple worker to it, you can discard a card to gain either its core value or 1 worker of the color shown on that card. If you go to space 15 and spend 3 power, you can get a face-up card and a coin. Coins are just straight-up victory points at the end of the game. So with that, I think we're all set to get into this playthrough. The way we're going to determine first player is I've got the die right here. We're going to roll a d6. Odds, I go first. Evens, the Automa goes first. Odds, I'm going first. So, with that, we're all set, so let's get into this playthrough. If you remember the start of the game, our cube starts in the refresh spot, so I get to do all 3 actions. I definitely want to get some workers right away, so I think with that in mind, I'm actually going to move up to the sawmill. Remember, I can do all 3. I'm going to gather a green worker, which technically will go on my mech map, but it won't go there for long, because I'm then going to play Olga and deploy a green worker to it, which will give me a guile. And then since I'm deploying a green worker to it, I can either gain a blue worker or solve. At this early point in the game, I want the blue worker. So that's it for my turn. The Automa determines their turn by drawing these Automa cards, and actually I'm going to move the Automa stuff over to the other side, so I'm not moving around constantly. I'll make sure I have enough room for discard piles for both the deck and for both the main item deck and the Automa deck. Moving that carefully. Okay. Alright, so our first Automa card. You'll read the card from top to bottom. So first the cube will advance. Then we'll go through the north mech. If they have that amount of glory, which they don't, they'd be trying to vanquish. In this case, the blue mech will just move 3. So 1, 2, 3. I'll explain how I might affect their movement when it actually happens. And the same thing for the southern mech for them. If they have 2 glory, they'd be looking to vanquish, but they don't. So the black mech is just moving. They're just moving one west. That's it for the turn. As you can see, it'll flow very quickly. As for my turn, now I've got to cover up one of the actions. So I think I'm going to move and gather. So I'm going to move to the airship wreckage, and that will actually give me any face-up card that I want. I think what I want here is... I'm going to set myself up a little bit, actually. I'm going to grab a Chaos Grenade, which will go to my played area, and then which will go to essentially my discard pile. Then replacing that will be an Aether Converter, which gives you a Guile. It's another item. Purple Worker would let you meld, and once per turn, if you meld a card, either gain its core value or activate its ability. The icons down there count for victory points when you've upgraded them at the end of the game. Next card for the Automa's turn. Cube advances again. If they have 2 glory, they'd be looking to explore, but they don't, so the blue mech will actually move 2 more to the east, moving 1, 2. And similarly, if the Automa had at least 3 glory, they'd be looking to vanquish, but instead the black mech is just moving 2 to the left, so 1, 2. Moving 2 to the west. Let's see, then for my turn, I think we're going to move and play this time. So I'm going to move to the... I'm going to move to the sawmill. Yeah, I'm going to move to Riverside, actually. Then I'm going to play Changa with a blue worker on him, which will give me a power because I get the core value. Then I can either gain an exposed benefit from an adjacent location or vanquish. I'm not in a position to vanquish. I will get the power, and I want the... I think I want to get a... I'm going to get another green worker because I'm planning on... I may double back and try to grab that jetpack. Then the Automa's next turn. Glory Cube is advancing again, which means the Automa now has their first glory out. So now anything that has a 1 glory condition on it will be, the Automa will be doing. The blue mech will be moving 1 because they don't have 4 glory. The Automa does have 0 glory though, so you check within 3 spaces, 0 to 3 spaces of whatever mech it's looking at. In this case, it's looking at the black mech, so they will be exploring right here and flipping this tile. So this tile will reveal to be Impact Zone for it's Zone 7. If you gather here, you get 2 might, or you can potentially meld, but you need to be able to clear the corruption first. So that brings me into this bag, and now we have to reveal tokens out of here until we reveal a total corruption value of at least 5. These range from 3 to 5. All right, first we've got that's a 3 power, and a 5 guile. Yikes, that location is very corrupt. So now before I jump into my next turn, I want to talk a little bit about how we affect each other's movement. So I can move through a location occupied by another mech, but I can't stop there. So I wouldn't be able to stop at the impact zone, for example. Similarly, if I'm in the way of an Automa movement, then they would skip over me. So say they had to move and it was me here instead, and the Automa was over here. They would move 1, skip over me, count the next spaces. They're 2 and 3. So that's part of where the warping might come into play, but that's it for the Automa's turn. They've advanced their cube is advanced quickly. Now for my turn, now I think I want to get some more cards. So do I want to go back to airship wreckage? I don't think so, actually. I think I'm going to I'm going to cover up play, though. So I'm going to move and gather. I'm going to move to airship wreckage, and what card do I want from here? I think I will grab the jetpack. There's a lot of stuff with purple workers out right now. So that'll go to my discard pile. I'm probably going to have to take a refresh turn soon. Replacing that will be a Scythe, which gives you a guile when you play it. Gain a worker if you deploy this with a blue worker. Whenever you gain a worker, also gain a might. The Automa's next turn. Cube is not moving. The blue mech is exploring, and they have 1 glory, so they can. Which means they'll take that. The Automa will score for map tokens at the end of the game. So the location here is an ice cave. If you gather here, you get a purple worker, a coin, and an upgrade, but we need to get 8 corruption out for that. That's a very corrupt location. That's a 3 power. I will have to move over here. A 4 guile. That's going to be a 3rd token because remember, I need a corruption value of at least 8. And 3 guile. Yikes. That's a lot of corruption on that location. Let's see, then the black mech is just... They don't have 5 glory, so they wouldn't be vanquishing. They're just moving off to 1. They're just moving off 1. For my turn, I think I need to take a refresh turn to get all my cards back. So all of my cards and my workers move back to the other side of my mat, and now I'll be able to do all 3 actions on my next turn. So the Automa's next card. Cube moves again. The blue mech's moving 1, it's just going to loop the map. And then the black mech is moving 3. 1, 2, also looping the map for 3. My next turn is I get to do all 3, remember. The question is, can I get to the impact zone to gather 2 power? And a normal range of 1 to 3 says yes, I can. So I will start by going to 1, 2, 3. I'll gather 2 might. Then I'm going to play Changa with a blue worker. I can either gain an exposed benefit from an adjacent location or vanquished. I will get a red worker from the sawmill. Then looking at the Automa's next turn, Cube is advancing again. The blue mech is sweeping. That's what that broom icon means. So the purple stone goes away, and the card they're drawing, or the card to replace it, is a recon drone giving you a guile. If you deploy a green worker to move it, and then whenever you move after it's upgraded, you may first either peek at a location within range or gain a might, worth 3 coins at the end of the game. They don't have 3 glory, so they're not taking an explore action. They're just moving 1. As for their south mech, they don't have 4 glory, so they're not vanquishing. They're just moving 2. Then for my turn, I think here we're going to cover up... I think here we're going to cover up play. So we're going to move and gather this turn. I think I'm going to move up to the central location up here. I'll take the map token, and then let's see what's revealed here. We find Crater Rim, which gives me access to sweeping and refreshing or an upgrade, but we need 5 corruption for that. And we covered up gather, so that was kind of dumb. I probably should have gathered, well, I'm not going to rewind that now. But that's sweeping away 3 cards, which I'm not completely broken up about. Because 2 of those are taking purple workers, though, so I'm not... That's a big part of the reason why I'm not completely broken up about it. That, however, is a 3 guile. And I mostly have... I should have another might from playing Changa from last turn. Anyway, we need another corruption for the Crater Rim. Another 3 guile, so I need locations to get my guile up a bit more. Then sweeping these 3 clear, replacing them. First up we have a Rift Mask, which gives you a power. Green worker to solve, and once per turn if you solve, either gain its core value or activate its ability. That might be something worth upgrading. Next up, study meteorites on the village outskirts, giving you a power. Space 16, 3 guile to get you, what is that? I think any face-up meteorite and a might. And a purple lets you activate the ability of any face-up meteorite. And scout the abandoned base at space 13, which we haven't revealed yet. Giving you a might, spend 2 guile to gain an adjacent benefit and a might. On a red worker, pay 2 guile to gain the top corruption from an adjacent location if it's a 3 or a 4. Whoa. That could be useful. But let's see what the Automa does. The Automa. Cube is advancing again. They don't have 5 glory, so they're not looking for the 20 yet. The blue mech's moving 2 to the east. 1, 2. The black mech, however, is sweeping, in which they're sweeping these 3 cards away. I wouldn't have minded the Scythe, but too late for that now. Replacing that. So replacing those first up. Clear a path into town. It's a quest, giving you a might. Space 11, spend 2 might to give you 1 time, I believe that's an adjacent benefit and a guile. If you deploy a red worker, gain the core value of all adjacent face-up cards, then sweep only those cards. Next up, trap the zombies. 7, giving you a might, going to space 7. Spend 2 power to refresh. Oh wait, that's refresh your cards and your workers. So that location... So the Crater Rim also gives me access to Changa back, which might be handy. Help if I knew that. And then if you deploy a green worker, gain a guile and peek at a location. Gain a map if there are no face-down locations. And last up, close the vortex, giving you a guile. On space 20, spend 3 might to gain a boast. That's the icon that we're looking for, to be able to boast that we've done something to put a glory star out. Blue location, or blue worker, if your location's top corruption is valued 3, 4, or 5, return it to the bag. So obviously we can't just dump a 20 with that. Then the black mech is moving 3 because they don't have 2 glory yet. So 1, they're skipping over me and not counting the space. 2, 3. So now that that's all done, we're back to my turn already. I think we're going to cover gather this time so we can move and play. I'm going to move. Actually, let's play and gather instead, because we had move and gather, so we're going to play and gather. I'm going to play the jetpack. Actually, yeah, we're going to play the jetpack with a green worker to it, which gives me a move. So I'm going to move back to the... Actually, I'm going to move to this location. We'll see what we have here. Take the map token, and I will find Mining Town, which is location 11. That gives me access to playing a card from my hand, gaining its core value, and I can place a worker or an upgrade, but I need 5 corruption for that location to be able to do that. So that's a 5+. Let's see what we've got. I'll gain the might from playing the jetpack in a second. That's a 5 might. Alright, then I've got a... Let's see, that was my play, so I'm going to gather that benefit to play a card from my hand. I should have a might from playing the jetpack, which I think will be playing Changa. So I can gain an exposed benefit from an adjacent location or vanquish. And since that's a 5 might, I'm going to spend the 5 might to vanquish that. And then since I use Changa to vanquish, I do get access to the revealed benefit, so I can upgrade something. I'm going to upgrade my Chaos Grenade, so I'll cover up the worker text. And then when I vanquish, I can flip a coin, which I'll use the die to simulate. Probably if it's odds, I'll gain $2. Otherwise, I'll gain a guile, and that will be worth 2 coins to me at the end of the game. So that will go on that side, and now I've got that upgrade available to me. Okay, so that's all handled there. Next card for the Automa. Cube is moving again. The blue mech doesn't have 4 glory, so they're just moving 3. 1, 2, 3. And the black mech is moving 2. 1, 2. Back over to my turn now. I think we're going to cover up play this time so I can move and gather. I think we'll move to the impact zone and I'll gain 2 might. For the Automa, the blue mech would be trying to vanquish, except they only have 1 glory, and the cube doesn't advance. That's what that icon means up there. So the blue mech is moving 2 up to here, and the black mech is moving 1 to the left, so they're moving 1 that way. My turn. What do I want to do this turn? I think I'm going to play and gather. So I'm going to play Olga with a green worker to give me a blue worker. And then I'm going to gather 2 more might. Actually, I should have a guile as well and 2 more might from gathering at the impact zone. Then for the Automa, cube is advancing again, so now they have 2 glory. The North mech still doesn't have 7 glory to go looking for the 20 corruption, so they're just moving 3. 2, 3. And then the Automa, the black mech is looking for an Explorer, which there happens to be 1 right here. So let's see what they find here. They get the map token, and this will reveal into, come on, Fishing Village, which gives you access to a power and a guile and a boast, but we need corruption for that first. So we'll get, that's a 5+ corruption. And that's a 5 guile. Joy. Alright, looking at my turn now. I might just end up having to take a refresh turn at this point. Unless I want to move and gather. I think we'll do that. I think we'll move and gather. So we'll move down to the airship wreckage. And I will grab clear a path into town, mostly for the worker, mostly for the location. Or for the worker benefits. That'll go into my discard pile. Then replacing that will be a clue stone. It's a meteorite, giving you a guile and another one if you have a melded meteorite. Green worker to solve. If you have 2 melded meteorites, gain a might per solved quest. And when you meld, gain $1 per solved quest. Then before the Automa takes their next turn, I need to take a small break. Automa's next turn. Cube is advancing. They don't have 3 glory, thankfully. But the blue mech is sweeping, so they're sweeping these 2 cards clear. Which that card should be in that discard pile, not there. First replacement card. Salvage an idle mech. Space 5, you can spend a guile to gain a might. Blue worker, activate the ability of any face-up item among the locations. And Dark Prophet's Staff, giving you a guile. Deploying a purple worker to it gives you a face-up card, and once per turn, if you gain a card to your active row, you may place a worker on it to activate its ability, worth 2 if you upgrade it. Then the blue mech is moving 3. 1, 2, 3. If the Automa has 4 glory, the black mech would be looking to vanquish 3 tokens, but they don't, so they're moving 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Now for my turn, I am going to take a refresh turn, because I need to pretty badly. Alright, then the Automa's turn. Cube is advancing once again. They don't have 5 glory, so they're not looking to vanquish in the north, but they move 2. And then the black mech's looking to explore since they have 0 glory, which means they'll take this map token and flip this over to reveal the warehouse. Gives you can gather a face-up, I believe that's an adjacent face-up card, so that would be one of these 2 cards, or meld, but we need a 5 corruption token for this. We need at least 5 corruption there. Let's see what we find. That's a 4 guile. And a 5 guile. Delightful. Which just means the north is going to be a bit clearer. I don't know why it's the central that's being such a big problem here. Let's see, then since I took a refresh turn, I have access to all 3 actions. So I think let's move back to the impact zone. I can move 1, 2, 3. That's how I'm getting there. Then I'm going to gather 2 more might, since I'm right there. Then I'm going to play... wait a minute, that's space 7. Then I'm going to play Clear Path into Town. And I'll deploy a red worker to it, which means I'll gain the core value of all adjacent face-up cards. Then I sweep only those cards, so that'll give me 2 guile and another might. I may want to go corruption hunting here pretty soon. I also get a might for playing the card. Then we'll sweep these 3 cards. So let's see what we replace with here. First up, we replace with a Mind Stone, which gives you a guile and another guile if you have a melded meteorite. Yellow worker to place a worker on an active card to activate its ability. And 2 melded meteorites gain a might per placed worker. And if you meld it, gain $1 per placed worker, maxed 3. Next up, communicate with the beast. Giving you a guile. Space 14, you can pay 3 guile to meld. If you deploy a yellow worker, you can pay a guile to meld. And chart a course north, giving you a guile if you play it. 3 on space 3, you can pay a guile to get a map token. If you deploy a green worker, you can boast. If every opponent is south of you, gain 2 might, but I'm pretty sure that is another card that talks about an opponent. Yep. So we'll return that to the box and draw another one. So our new card there. Rescue a trapped mercenary, giving you a might. Space 10, you can spend 2 might to gain a red worker. And to deploy a red worker to it, rescue another card. Either gain its core value or activate its ability. Okay. Back to the Automa turn, but we need to shuffle the deck first because we're into the parallel 2 cards. So we'll do the same thing we did before. Give this a shuffle. Then we'll turn the bottom 2 cards perpendicular. And then our next card up for the Automa. Cube advances again, still not to 3 glory, which means the blue mech is moving east 1, and then the black mech is moving west. It's going to essentially be 4, because 1, skip over me, 2, 3. All right, coming back to my turn, now I've actually got to cover something up, and I'm going to cover up... let's cover up... move. I'll play and gather. So I'll play Olga, deploying a green worker with her, which will give me another blue worker. Definitely want to get more cards that give me blue workers. And then I'll gather 2 more might, which will bring me up to the full 10. So I do want to do a little bit of corruption hunting. I'll go up to 5 might. I can probably do that next turn. Automa's next turn. Cube is advancing. The North mech is sweeping, which isn't too bad because they're only getting rid of a Mind Stone. Let's see what they're replacing it with. Find a secret passage. Go to space 18, spend 3 guile to gain an adjacent benefit and a coin. A green worker, trash a map to move to any revealed location and gain a guile. That might be something I want to try to get. They don't have 3 glory yet, so they don't take an explore action. They're moving 1. Likewise, no 4 glory to go vanquishing, so they're just moving, the black mech is just moving 2. 1, 2. Right discard pile, Phoenix. Let's see, for my turn, I'm going to cover up gather, so I'm going to move and play. I'm going to play first, though. I'm going to play Changa with a blue worker, which will let me... Changa will let me vanquish. So I'm going to spend 5 guile to vanquish this, and then 3 might to vanquish this. And then since I have the... But I would get the revealed benefit, but I don't have any meteorites to meld, so I can't do anything with that. I will move. So I'll move to... let's move out here. Let's move out to this location, all the way over in the west. I'll take the map token and I'll flip over. A research base, space 13. 2 guile. This might be a place I want to spend a little bit of time to gather if I can. And an upgrade, but we need 5 corruption first. Oh! When I vanquished, I almost forgot about the Chaos Grenade. Whenever I vanquish, that was the first vanquish I had since I upgraded the Chaos Grenade. So I get to roll a die. Odds, I'll gain $2. Evens, I'll gain a guile. That's odds, so I'll gain $2, which is just straight... Which is just straight victory points. And these are the metal coins from Scythe. Figured they had some use here. Right. I need the 5 corruption for... I need the 5 corruption for the... What is that? The research base. There's a 3 Guile. And a 3 Power. Automa's next turn. Cube advances. So now the Automa has 3 Glory. Since they have 2, the Northern Mech is actually looking to going to Vanquish. So they're going to move over to the Ice Cave and take this Vanquish token, which is kind of good for me because that'll make it easier if I can get up there. Likewise, the Automa's also, the Southern Mech's also vanquishing, so they're moving to the Warehouse and taking this 5. Which is not completely great for me, but it's also not entirely terrible. Let's see, what do I want to do? I think I'm going to cover move, so I'm going to play and gather, but I'm going to get a move anyway. Actually, no, I'm going to do this in the right order. So I'm going to gather first. I'm going to gather 2 Guile there. Then I'm going to play out my Jetpack. So that'll give me a move, and I'll move to... Let's move to the Mech Junkyard. I'll probably plan on gathering there next turn. As for the Automa's next turn, Cube is moving again. Thankfully, the Automa doesn't have 6 Glory, so the Blue Mech is just moving 3. 1, 2, 3. The Black Mech is sweeping, so it's sweeping these 2 cards. And replacing first up with Sweep the Field, giving you a Guile. Speaking of which, I should have another Might from playing the Jetpack. I promise I'll remember that one of these days. That gives me a Guile. On space 2, I can spend a Might to sweep cards, to sweep any number of sweep adjacent cards, I believe. Any number of face-up cards, so I can clear that potentially. Blue Worker, gain a Might per face-up blue card. Then sweep any number of face-up blue cards. Next card is a Hero Stone, giving you a Might and 1 more if you have a Melded Meteorite. Red, to discard a card to gain its core value. 2 Melded Meteorites, you can rescue a previous card. And gain $1 per color among cards in hand. And then they're taking an Explore tile, except there are none in range, because they only check in the direction they're moving, so the Black Mech is just moving 1. That's it for the Automa's turn. My turn, I'm taking a refresh turn, because I need to get all my cards back. Alright, Automa's next turn. Cube is advancing once again. They don't have 5 Glory, so I'm looking for the 20. The Blue Mech's just moving 2. 1, 2. The Black Mech still can't explore, but they can sweep, which is going to clear these 3 cards. That's kind of annoying. First up, hack through vines to find a hidden entrance, giving you a Might. Space 6, you can spend a Might to gain the top card of the deck, deploying a Red Worker to Vanquish. As you do, you may discard up to 3 cards, gaining their core values. Next up, Hack Robot Guardians, giving you a Might. Space 18, spend 3 Might to upgrade, which could be useful. Blue Worker to activate the ability of any other active card. And an Aid Stone, giving you a Might and another one if you have a Melded Meteorite. Deploy a Red Worker to Vanquish. If you have 2 Melded Meteorites, gain a Guile per Orange Corruption. And Melded, gain $1 per Orange Corruption to a max of 3. That was the Black Sweep, so they're just moving 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay, then since I took a refresh turn, I get to do all 3. I'm going to start off by gathering. So I'll gather the top 2 cards. Yes, so first up, I get to choose one of these. A Green Stone, which gives me a Might, and another one if I have a Melded Meteorite. Deploy a Green Worker to gain a face-up green card to your hand, and 2 If I have 2 melted meteorites, gain a guile per green card I control. Gain $1 per green card I control to a max of 3. Or Universal Vice, giving me a guile. I can deploy a blue worker to it to upgrade. When I upgrade this or any other item, I gain $1 and a might. I think that was my gather. I think I'm going to take the Universal Vice. I'll discard the meteorite. So that was my gather. Then I'll move to... Can I get back to Space 11? I can move through, but I can't get there yet. I could probably... I should be able to solve that, clear a path into town next turn. So I'll move to the... I'll move back to the impact zone. Either way I move, whether I go through the Automo's black mech or move through the south, I can get up to the impact zone. And then I've got to play... I wonder if no, I don't want to play clear a path into town. I think I'll play Changa to gain an exposed benefit from an adjacent location. Which I will take a... do I want to take another play, though? No, I don't think I do. We'll just play Olga with a... Oh, shoot, I'm actually going to need Olga to be able to solve, so this was really dumb on my part. I still have a play available to me. I think I'll just play the... This is bad. I kind of screwed myself on this one because Changa was my play from the actions. Wait. I gathered, I moved, and then I played, but that's giving me an exposed benefit. I think I'll just get myself out of that by taking an exposed benefit to take a red worker. Herpaderp. Now that we got that out of the way, I have 2, 4, 6, 7 workers. So if I can find a location to boast, I can boast about that. Automa's next turn. Cube is moving once again. They still don't have 4 glory yet. The blue mech is moving east 1. Then the black mech is looking to explore, and there is a location in range. So they've got this location right here. And here they find the Weird Forest, which you can get either a purple worker or a meld, but we need 5 corruption for that first. So we go back into the bag. We still have a lot of the big corruption locations in the north to reveal. That's a 4 guile. We're finding a lot of guile, and I'm not really doing much with guile this game. I need to probably spend a few turns at the research base. And a 5 guile. Oh, that's going to be fun. But of course, they both stay there. So my turn, I think we're going to cover up move and play. I'm going to play first, which will be Olga, with the green worker, which will let me clear a path into town. So I'll spend 2 might to gain an adjacent benefit, or to gain an adjacent benefit, which will be a... I think it'll be a guile for sure, and an adjacent benefit I can use to sweep and refresh. No, I think we'll actually just rescue Changa? Yeah, I think we'll rescue Changa. I've got a little bit of a plan here with that. So I'll rescue Changa and the worker. And then I'm gaining the core value of the solved quest, which this was my first solved quest, so I don't get the... Would I get the core value for that? I don't know if I would, actually. I don't know if I would count the... Doesn't say. Yeah, I don't think so. So I'll just move over. I'll move over to the research base. And I gave myself the Guile from Olga. Okay, so now that I've got that straight, next card for the Automa's turn. Cube advances. They're getting close to 4 glory, but I don't think I can stop that. Fortunately, it means that the blue mech can't vanquish, so they're moving 3 to the west. We're moving 3 to the east. 1, 2, 3. Then the black mech is just moving 2. So 1, 2. Then for my turn, I'm going to play and gather. Do I want to gather first? What's the exposed benefit here? That's an upgrade. Which, yeah, I could probably take that. So, I'm actually going to start by playing Changa, which will let me either gain an exposed benefit or vanquish. But I'm going to vanquish for 3 might, and then for 3 guile. Which, since I vanquished the last exposed benefit, or since I vanquished the last corruption, I will upgrade my jetpack. So whenever I move, I can move through face-down locations now without stopping. I will, however, need to take a refresh turn, most likely, and then I'll gather 2 guile. So that actually works pretty well for me, I think. Then the Automa's next turn. Cube is advancing, so now the Automa has 4 glory. I have yet to get 1 on the board, which I can get for 7 workers. I just need to find a location to boast. The blue mech is sweeping, which is clearing the rift mask, so they will find a goldstone, giving you a guile and another one if you have a melded meteorite. You can deploy a yellow worker to gather, and if you have 2, gain a might per adjacent location. And when you meld, gain $1 per adjacent location. I may try to grab that. They have plenty of map icons up here to explore, so they'll flip this one over and find Ancient Temple. You can gather for 2 coins and a meld, but we need 8 corruption for that. So let's see what we can find here. That's a 4 power, and a 5 guile. Joy. And the black mech, the Ottoman now has 4 glory, so they can go vanquish, which means they'll come over here and take these 2 corruption tokens. Before I jump into my next turn, I need to take a small break. I'm getting close-ish to being able to boast about having corruption tokens, but I think for now, I'm going to move and gather. I'm probably going to double back down and gather some resources. So, I'm going to move back to the mech junkyard and gather and look at the top 2 cards, choosing 1. First card up. A Brainstone, giving me a guile and 1 if I have a melded meteorite. Deploy a blue worker to gain a face-up item to my hand, and 2, I gain a might per item in my hand, and when it's melded, gain $1 per item I control, max of 3, and a hover coil, which is another item. I can gain a might, move with a green worker, and whenever I move through a player's location, except that's going to go away because that's referring to another player. So new card up is a fuel stone. 1 guile and another one if I have a melded meteorite. Blue worker to vanquish, and 2 melded to gain a might per turquoise corruption. And to gain $1 per turquoise corruption, max of 3. I think with my abundance of blue workers, I could take either one of these, but I'm going to take the fuel stone. Next up for the Automa, Cube is advancing once again. They don't have 5 glory, so the blue mech's just moving 2. 1, 2. The black mech doesn't have anything left to explore, so it's moving left 2. It's moving west 2. I am taking a refresh turn so I can get everything back. Then the Automa's next turn. Cube advances once again. North Mech has plenty of map tokens, including the one it's sitting on. So next up we'll find Mountain Pass, Space 18. You can gain an adjacent card and a meld, but we need corruption for that first. We need at least 8. That's a 4 power. And another 4 power. So if I can get my might up in a hurry, I can probably go clear that out. Then the Black Mech is looking to vanquish, and there's plenty in range. So they'll move over to the Weird Forest and vanquish this one. Then since it's my turn, I can take since I took a refresh turn, I can take all 3 actions. Where do I want to go for that? I can't get over to the airship wreckage, so I think we'll go... I think we'll move to the impact zone. Actually, there's a lot of turquoise. I wonder if I wouldn't be more beneficial going to the research base and gathering Guile. Yeah, I think we'll go up to the research base. I can actually upgrade as well if I want to, but I want the 2 Guile here. So that's my gather, and then my play is going to be... It's going to be Chonga with a blue worker. I'll gain a benefit from an exposed location, giving me a Guile and a might. Then the Automa's next turn. Cube is moving again. They're not at 7 glory. So they're not going after the 20. The Blue Mech will just move 3. 1, 2, 3. Then there are no map tokens for the Black Mech, so they will move 2 west. 1, 2. My next turn, what do I want to do here? I think we're going to move and gather. I'll move up here and see what we've got here. So this is another map token. Let's see what tile we reveal here. We reveal an observatory, giving you a might and an upgrade once you clear the corruption. So we need at least 8 corruption for that. That's a 4 Guile, which we actually have 5 right now, so that could be helpful. And a 5 Guile, that's not helpful. So that was my... Okay, so I'm gathering a map token as well, which doesn't actually do anything for me. Then the Automa's next turn, they'll be right discard pile Phoenix, and they'll be shuffling after this. Cube doesn't advance. The Blue Mech can get to an Explorer, so they can get here. They'll take that, and then they'll find Tarkovsky's Lair. So this is where the 20 corruption goes, but it's also access to a boast. So we do need to keep that somewhat in mind. Then they don't quite have 5 glory, so the Black Mech is just moving 1. Let's see, my turn. I am nowhere near getting to that 20 corruption. I would need 10 of both. And that's not happening for a while. So I'm going to gather, let's cover Let's cover gather, so we'll move and play. What do I even want to play at this point? Actually, I'm going to move to... Let's move to the mech junkyard. The problem right now is I just don't have enough cards. Then I'm going to play Olga with a green worker, which will let me gain a blue worker. And that'll get me a guile, so that'll bring me up to 6. The Ottoman needs to shuffle their deck. Turn those 2 sideways. And then next card up for the Automa. Cube is advancing. They have 5 glory now. I need to find somewhere I can boast, and I need to actually make some headway here. Fortunately, they don't have 6 glory, so they can't take the 20. They're moving, the blue mech's moving 3, 1, 2, 3. Then the black mech is sweeping, which is very annoying. And then replacing those. Learn about Tarkovsky's expedition on space 3, spending a guile to refresh a card. Purple worker, draw 2 cards and keep 1. If you keep a meteorite, gain a guile. Next up, raise a corrupted building, space 9, spend 2 might to vanquish. Deploy a yellow worker to vanquish. After each corruption you gain, also gain a might and a guile. And... or is that just... oh, that's just gain a corruption. And... Mitz Valve, it's an item. Deploying it, gaining a guile. Deploy a blue worker, gain a guile. Whenever you have 10 guile, you may decrease your guile to 3 and gain $3. Worth 2 at the end of the game. Then the black mech doesn't have anything to explore, so they're just moving left 1. Looking at my turn, well, I think we're going to move and gather. So I'm going to move down to the secret facility. Then I'll gain the top card of the deck. I will gain Lure and Confront the Cave Monsters, giving me a guile. Space 17, I can spend 3 might to gain 1 adjacent benefit and a coin, and space 17 has been revealed. If I deploy a purple worker to it, I can transfer the top corruption from each adjacent location to my location. That seems like a really dumb idea. That goes to... yeah, that goes to the top. Okay, that was my gather, and I get to rescue a card and the worker on it. I will rescue... I can't get up there. It'll take me a couple turns to get up there to solve it, but I will rescue Olga and the green worker that comes with it. The Automa... Cube doesn't advance. The blue mech is going to be vanquishing for 2 since they have 5 glory. And I haven't even gotten 1 yet. And then the black mech just moves 1. Looking at my turn, I'm going to cover... let's cover gather, so I'll move and play. I'm going to move up to the weird forest. And then I'll play... wait a minute, that's space 10. Okay, I do have a vanquish available to me, so I'll deploy the fuel stone, giving me a guile, which I'll immediately spend 4 back down to 3 to vanquish this turquoise corruption, which now gives me access to melding at that location. Next up for the Automa, Cube is advancing. They're going to start getting their glory quickly. Thankfully, they don't have 7 glory, otherwise they'd be going for the 20, but they are going to land back on Tarkovsky's lair. It would have been within range there. The black mech doesn't have anything left to explore, so they're going to end up 1, skip 2 at the warehouse. Then for my turn, I'm going to... let's cover up play, so we'll move and gather. Yeah. Let's move up to the ice cave, so I'm all set for next turn. Then I'll gather a purple worker, a coin, and I get to upgrade. I'll upgrade the Universal Vice. So now when I upgrade this or any other item, I gain $1 and a might, and it's worth 3 victory points at the end of the game. So that gives me another might up to 5 and $1. Alright, next card for the Automa's turn. The blue mech's sweeping, which clears the Goldstone and the Learn About Tarkovsky's Expedition. Replacing that will be Deceptor Crystal, giving you a might. Yellow worker to gather, and whenever you gather, you may pay Guile to include a benefit covered by corruption on your location worth 4 coins at the end of the game. And unearth some strange rocks. Space 8, 2 might to get a face-up meteorite. Purple worker, if you have no corruption, gain 2 Guile, otherwise gain 2 might, which I do have corruption. They do have explore tokens in range, so they'll move here and gain this one. Flipping over. Stormy Sea. Here's a boast card, but it would be sweep, adjacent, and a boast, but we need 8 corruption for that location. That'll send me back into the bag. That's a 5 power, and another 5 power. Yikes, I would need 10 power there. Then the blue mech is vanquishing because they have enough glory to do that. Okay, my turn. I'm going to cover move, so I'm going to play and gather. I'll deploy Olga. Actually, I think I have to... Can I solve a quest that I played, or that I gained? Or does it have to be in my hand? Must be on a card you control, and I believe control is... How do they define control? I believe it has to be in your hand to control it. That's what I'm not sure about. Because if they define control as in your hand, if they define control as being in your hand, then I have to take a refresh turn before I can solve that quest. But, of course, it's not telling me how they define this. Of course not. I know when you upgrade, solve, or meld, those don't count as being in your control. But I can't see if the... place in your active row. Cards you control are always face up and may exist in one of 2 places. In your hand, or so it sounds like as long as you have it in as long as you have it around your mat, you control it. So That means I can play Olga with a green worker on her. I'll solve spending 3 might. 1, 2, 3, down to 3. To lure and confront the cave monsters, which one time gives me an adjacent benefit and a coin. So I'll take the coin. I also gain the might. I also gain a might as the core value from my solved quests. And an adjacent benefit, I will take an upgrade, and I'll upgrade the fuel stone, which I gain $1 per turquoise corruption, and I've got 3 of them. So that will give me $3. I'll actually make a little bit of change here as well. I'll trade all these singles in for 5. Okay, so now that we've got that all figured out, Automa's next turn. The blue mech will very much be exploring, so I'll take this map token, and we'll flip this into, whenever it wants to focus, the encampment. Space 16. Gain any card and a boast, but we need 5 corruption? Yeah, I guess 5 corruption. So that'll send us back into the bag. That's a 4 power. Great. All my both locations are basically getting buried. And a 5 power. Delightful. So basically I need to go stock up on might, but the problem is, well, there are 2 problems, and I'll talk more about that later. So the black mech is looking to vanquish, but there's nothing in range, so they're just moving 1. The problem is the locations are just getting scattered where I can't really do anything with it. The impact zone is fairly close, but it's going to take me a couple turns to reach it. However, I need to take a refresh turn because I'm very badly hurting for cards. And I need to find more pronto. The Automa cube is advancing, which is not good for me. I mean, it's good that it's going to make this game over soon. The Automa can't take an Explorer, so they're just moving 2. 1, 2, skipping over me. And then the black mech is going to be able to vanquish because they've got the fishing village in range. They take that one. Looking at my turn next, I get to take all 3. So well, I'm going to move to Space 16. And what card do I want? Let's unearth some strange rocks, so I can at least get a meteorite out of that. And we'll replace that with a synergy halo, giving you a guile. To play with a blue worker to gain a guile. Whenever you gain at least 2 guile during your turn, also gain a might worth 4 coins at the end of the game. Then I'm going to play let's play Changa, and we'll get an exposed benefit from an adjacent location, which I think will chain. I think we'll use I think we'll take the Stormy Sea, which will sweep these 2 cards, and then give me an adjacent benefit. So next up is Weaken the Leviathan. Space 19, I can spend 3 might to rescue and get a coin. If I deploy a green worker, gain 3 guile if my mech is in the north, 2 in the central, or 1 in the south. And Arcane Blade, it's another item, giving me a might. Red worker to vanquish. When I gain multiple corruption via a single vanquish, gain $1 for each. Then I'll use the adjacent benefit to chain into Mountain Pass and take Weaken the Leviathan, since Space 19 is actually right there. Then I'll replace that with Awakened Shard, giving me a Guile. With the yellow worker, I can play a card, and when I play a Meteorite, I may activate its ability without placing a worker. Before I take the Automa's next turn, I need to take a small break and change my battery. I also should have another Might from playing Changa. The Automa's next turn, Cube advances, which means now they have 6 glory. Game is just about over. The blue mech is sweeping this Deceptor Crystal clear. They find Gearstone, giving you a Guile and another one if you have a Melded Meteorite. Blue worker to upgrade. 2 Melded Meteorites gain a Might per upgrade, and that's gain $1 per upgrade. That could be good if I can get to it. They don't have anything they can explore, so they're just moving 1. For glory, the black mech would be trying to vanquish, but they don't have anything they can vanquish, so 1, 2. They just move. My turn. Do I just go solve Weaken the Leviathan and be done with it? Let me rescue a card and get a coin. So it'd be move and play. Yeah, then I could probably go solve Unearth some strange rocks, but I still need somewhere I can boast, and as sad as it sounds, I might be depending on the Automa for that. So I think I'm going to cover move and play. I think I'm going to cover gather so I can move and play. I'll move to the Stormy Sea. Then I'll play Olga with a green worker on her. So let me solve Weaken the Leviathan, spending 3 Might. To let me rescue a card, I'll rescue Changa. Yes, I'll rescue Changa now that I actually have adjacent cards. And I'll get another coin. I'm not doing great at all this game. I've got some things I can boast about, and since I solved, I also get a Might and a Guile back. That's not completely terrible. Next card up for the Automa. Cube is advancing. We're very much heading toward the end game. The blue mech is sweeping these 2 clear. Next up, so first card replacing it, is an Aether Stone, giving you a Guile and 1 more if you have a Melded Meteorite. Deploy a purple worker, gain a face-up meteorite to your hand. 2, gain a Guile per meteorite you control, and gain a $1 per meteorite you control to a max of 3. And Exosuit, giving you a Might. Rescue a card with a red worker, and once per turn, if you rescue another card, either gain its core value or activate its ability. Speaking of activating, I should have had another Guile from playing Olga. Then there's nothing to explore, so the blue mech is moving 3. 1, 2, 3. Yikes. Then the black mech would be looking to vanquish, but there's nothing to vanquish, so they move 1, 2, 3. Okay, my turn. Yuck, yuck, yuck. I do not have enough power to be able to vanquish anything right now, so... And the impact zone just got covered up, so I can't even get there to get more might. So... actually, I could go to the Ancient Temple. What's the benefit there? That would be a meld. I don't have anything to meld, but I might not have the luxury of caring at this point. Do I just take a refresh turn and... The problem is that those are... Jeez. Everything is just coming up pretty garbage for me right now. I guess I will move and gather? That's not a great option. I mean, I could get down to the fishing village to boast, which I honestly might have to do at this point. So I'll just move 1, 2, 3. Then I'll sweep these clear. And I'll get to rescue a card. Probably end up rescuing Unearth some strange rocks. First up, clear the blockaded bridge. Space 1 can spend a might to play a card with a giving you a might. If you have 0 to 2 cards in hand, gain 2 might, otherwise gain 2 guile. Next up, redstone, giving you a might and 1 more if you have another melded meteorite. Red worker, gain a face-up red card to your hand. 2 melded, gain a guile per red card you control. And when it's melded, gain $1 per red card you control, max of 3. I believe when they talk about the color, they're talking about the color of the worker. Let me see if it specifies that. Yep, refers to the color of the worker. Probably should have made that clearer a lot earlier. And last card, Aether Mirror, giving you a might. If you deploy it with a yellow worker, rescue another card. When you refresh, gain a might or guile per refreshed worker. See, that was my move and my gather, and I get to rescue. I'll rescue. Rescuing Olga isn't going to do much for me, is it? Yeah, might as well. Alright, next card up for the Automa. Cube is advancing. The Automa is going to be vanquishing. They've got 1 right here at the observatory. So they get that. And then the black mech is moving 2. 1, 2. Thankfully not blocking off the fishing village for me. Oh. Except I have to... Well, actually, I do get to move and play. So I'll move to the fishing village, and then I'll play. I'll play Changa. I'm gonna have to take a refresh turn here, which will give me an exposed benefit from a location. I will take 1 of each. Actually, I'll take 2 guile. That'll bring me up to 7. So I can head up to do a little bit of guile vanquishing. Next up, for the Automa, Cube is moving. So we're headed for endgame very quickly. The blue mech is vanquishing. They can move to the ancient temple and take this token. And the black mech is moving 3. 1, 2, 3. Alright, then I will... Actually, I'm just going to play and gather at this point. So my gather is going to be to boast that I've got 7 workers. Because I've had that pretty much all game. I've had 7 workers and 5 map tokens. I just haven't had anywhere to boast. And then I'll play Olga because why not? I'm on space 12, which will give me another blue worker. It just has not worked for me this game. And like I said, the last card... The last token movement for the Automa ends the game. Right on cue. So that moves. We'll put their 8th glory out. It would help if I could count. They're vanquishing. And then the black mech's moving 3. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. And then I would be stuck taking a refresh turn at this point because I've got nothing in my hand. And then that's the end of the game. So let's score this up and see how much the Automa blew me away by. Alright, so the Automa scores 1 point per map token they had. And they had a lot from the looks of it here. I'm going to start working on cleanup as well. Come on. The Automa had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. for 10 money. Then they score a point per corruption they had. They had 5, 9, 13 for another 13, which will bring them up to 23. And then here's where they're going to blow me away. They get 4 points. They get 4 money per glory token they had, and they got to all 8. So they get 32. 32. I'll trade that in for 20 just to make the math a little easier. That can turn into a 5. So we see that the Ottoman has a total of 55 coins. Let's move over to my board and see how dismal it is in comparison. Alright, so I score for the number of coins that I gained during the game. I scored a total of 9. Glory tokens placed on categories. Since I only placed 1, since I solved 3 quests, my 1 glory token is worth 8. So that brings me up to $8. That brings me up to actually 17. Upgraded items, I score 9 more for that. I'll take this single and make it a 10. And corruption scores me 2. It's not going to be enough. 6. So that gives me another 12. And that's it. So that's a grand total of 20, 30, 6, 7, 8. So by a score of 55 to 38, the Ottoman definitely won this one. It was closer than I expected it to be, but it still was not pretty. I really couldn't get my boasting going, and I couldn't really get much of anything going this game, but that will do it for this playthrough of Expeditions. I did enjoy this game, though, despite some of the problems I had with it. And I think the reason I enjoyed this one and not Scythe is this one felt a lot more approachable for me, where Scythe had kind of that overwhelming feeling of you're trying to do everything in the game, which is part of the reason why I've always been a little bit hesitant around civilization games. I've started looking at games from GMT like Ancient Civilizations of the Inner Sea and the Middle East. And while I'm curious about them, like I said, the overarching civilization theme is kind of making me hesitant. Also making me hesitant is the fact that the reputation I've found with looking those games up is that they're very, very mean. Granted, I'd probably be playing most of that solo most of the time, but I'm definitely open to suggestions on ways to make that a little bit easier to swallow. And like I said, this one isn't so overwhelming, and there's a heavy puzzle aspect to this game I enjoy, even if I wasn't able to unpuzzle it this time. This game felt a lot simpler to me, and as you can see, it actually flows, especially during the solo game, very well. But let's wrap this video up. Wednesday we're playing Night Fighter Ace from Compass Games, and next week we're debuting another sports game on the channel as we play Appa Hockey. Thank you for watching the video. Please give the video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Be sure to turn on notifications so you get my content. Be well, stay safe, take care of yourselves and your loved ones, and I'll be back with more videos in the future. Until then, take care everyone.